So let me preface this video by saying that we are complete amateurs. We've never grafted anything before, so everything we know about grafting is either we read from a book or we looked at online, basically. We're in Albuquerque, New Mexico, and the elevation here is just above 5,000 feet, and we're going to be grafting all of these scions onto St. Julian rootstock that we picked up from an online nursery. And so I'm going to try a couple different kinds of grafts. This first one that we'll be trying is called the whip, or some people call it a tongue graft. And so the first thing I'm going to do is try to clean up my tools here with a little bit of rubbing alcohol. And one of the things that was in common with everything I read and watched was that you want to graft the scion with the stock as quickly as possible after you make the cuts, because the plants start to dry out almost immediately after being cut. So your success rate will go up the faster you can do these things. So they recommend doing a lot of practice. I haven't done a lot, I've just done a little bit of practice. But we'll see how it goes. And hopefully I won't cut myself. And if you notice, I'm wearing gloves, and that's just because I don't want to, after I clean up everything, I don't want to infect the scions or the rootstock with what may be on my hands. Okay. So I'm probably going to try to use this razor knife first because it's sharper than this knife. But I might use this knife later on when I'm trying to do what they call a cleft graft. Alright, so here we go with our first attempt at grafting. The first thing we need to do is get a clean cut across the scion, the rootstock. And so on my little Leatherman here, I've got a sawing blade. So I'm just going to saw straight across here. Okay. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to try to graft 2 whip grafts onto this side of the rootstock and on this side of the rootstock here. On either side of this, what looks like a knot in the wood. So the first thing we have to do is cut our top graft here. Our scion. And so I'm just going to chop this straight off. Okay, so here's the scion that we want to use. And maybe I want to get a fresh cut on the bottom here too, which I might use these pliers to cut across instead, because that last cut was kind of difficult. Okay. So what we're going to do here now is we're going to make our angled cut, and we want to try to do this in one motion straight down the side of this thing. Alright, so we got that going, and then we'll want to do a matching cut on the rootstock here, but upwards. Okay. So now what we're going to do is we're going to put our tongue on each of these, which I read that you're supposed to do 1/3 of the way from the sharp side and put a little tongue on it. Okay, so that has a tongue. And do the same thing on your rootstock. Okay, and then you gotta get that to go in there somehow. I don't think I made my slice good enough on this.
So this is a plum, a Japanese plum we're grafting onto a St. Julian A rootstock.
Okay, so those look like they made it up decently. I don't really like the way it looks, but let's try again on the other side and then we'll tape it all together. And I'm trying to work with a little bit of urgency here. We want to do this as quick as possible. Oops, there goes my other graft. As you can tell, it's amateur hour here. Okay. Let's see if we can pop this guy back into here. Okay, get our other one ready. Alright, that doesn't look like a very good cut, as you can tell. So I'm going to try it again, a little bit higher up. Okay, so now we're going to put our tongue on these ones. This just isn't working out very good for me. Probably should have done more practice, but let's try it anyway. Oh yeah, the other thing we forgot to talk about that's very, very important in this is the idea of the cambium being matched together. The cambium is, as far as I could tell from everything I read, is just inside the green layer inside of the scion and the rootstock. And the next thing we're going to do here is we're going to try to tape this up. So I'm going to take a piece of this tape. This tape I picked up at the hardware store. It's called splicing tape. It's a type of electrical tape. And we're going to try to go ahead and get this as tight as we can using this splicing tape here. And we want to make sure we seal it all the way up so that no moisture can basically escape out of this. And then after we finish that, we're going to come back and we're going to spray this with some pruning seal. And if either of these grafts is successful, then we'll just cut off the other one. If both of them are successful, then we'll choose whichever one's stronger out of the two, and we'll cut the other one off. But I'll come back and make another video in the future to show you guys what happened either way, whether this is successful or not. I don't have much faith that it will be successful after how you saw how screwed up this was, but we'll try a different method, grafting method, on the next one, I think. Okay. So, I'll cut this off just before I seal it up. Here we are back with our pruning spray. Pruning seal. It's some kind of aerosol tree tar as far as I can tell. And what we're going to do is we're going to cut off the top of this one. I'm counting 1, 2, 3 buds here, so I'm going to cut it just above that bud. And then I'm going to take my sealer and I'm going to spray it around my tape and on the tops of these here. And hopefully that'll keep all the moisture in there and keep the scions from drying out, and we'll see what happens. Okay, so here we are for our 1-month follow-up after we did a whip graft onto this rootstock here. And I just want to show you that we have some, we can tell that this scion on the right here, both of these are Japanese plums, and we can see we have some life showing up on this scion here. The buds are turning green, they're starting to swell, and hopefully it means it's gonna pull through. This one on the left here doesn't look as good though. Can't see any good growth on it. And we also have some positive feedback from the rootstock itself. We can see definitely that it's alive. We see a good shoot coming off there. And when I'm sure that these buds on the scion are growing well, then I'm gonna go ahead and cut that one off of the rootstock, the sucker one. Alright, so here we are back at graft number 1. This is 3 months and a little bit after we did the original graft, and as you can see, this graft is really taking off very well. It's growing so much that it already busted the tape that we wrapped around it initially. This is the Japanese plum graft. There's about a good I'd say 1.5 feet of growth on here, and I put this bamboo stick in so that it can grow up straight along there.